Chicago did not sleep. It watched. From rain-covered train tracks to glowing penthouse windows, from the frozen riverbanks to the underground tunnels beneath the city, Chicago watched everything. And now, it was watching Savannah Clarke. The lights inside Eli's office remained dead. Savannah stood frozen beside the desk, the birth certificate trembling in her hands. Father, Richard Clarke. Mother, Elena Vale. Vale. The name burned into her skull. Then came the voice again from the darkness. Careful, Gabriel Vale said softly. Shock makes people clumsy. A dim emergency light flickered near the hallway. Savannah slowly turned. Gabriel Vale stepped forward from the shadows like a ghost returning from the grave. Dry. Calm. Untouched. The silver-haired monster wore a clean black overcoat as though he hadn't vanished into icy harbor water 3 weeks earlier. Savannah's pulse thundered. You're dead. Vale smiled faintly. No, Savannah. He stepped closer. I'm your family. Upstairs, jazz music still played softly inside the gutter rose. Customers laughed. Wine glasses clinked. Nobody knew the devil stood downstairs. Savannah forced herself to think. The pistol. Eli kept one inside the desk drawer. Slowly, carefully, she shifted one hand downward. Vale noticed instantly. Don't. His voice never rose. It didn't need to. Something about Gabriel Vale felt worse than shouting. Controlled danger. Predatory stillness. Savannah stared at him. You murdered people. Yes. You trafficked children. A pause. Then. No. That answer caught her off guard. Vale slowly removed leather gloves from his hands. Vincent handled the trafficking network after he became ambitious. His expression darkened slightly. That operation violated rules. Savannah almost laughed in disbelief. Rules? Yes. You expect me to believe there's morality in your empire? Vale walked toward the office window overlooking the restaurant floor. I built systems, Savannah. Information routes. Political leverage. Financial manipulation. He glanced back at her. Vincent corrupted it into chaos. And Pier 19? Vincent's operation. Savannah frowned. Then why were you there? Because Vincent betrayed me. The room went silent. Finally pieces began aligning inside Savannah's mind. Vincent Arnett. Gabriel Vale. Separate monsters. Connected monsters. Savannah stared hard at him. Vincent worked for you. For years. But then he tried taking control. Vale nodded once. He became greedy. Sloppy. Violent. And the trafficking? Vincent expanded without permission. Savannah's stomach twisted. So all of this, she whispered. The attacks. The war. Pier 19. Was a coup. The realization hit hard. Vincent Arnett had not been the true king. He had tried overthrowing one. And Eli. Eli had been caught between them. The office door burst open. Eli entered holding a pistol. The moment he saw Vale, everything inside him hardened. For several seconds nobody moved. Then Eli spoke quietly. You should have stayed underwater. Vale smiled slightly. And miss seeing you again? Eli raised the gun directly at his head. Savannah immediately noticed something terrifying. Gabriel Vale did not care. Not even slightly. You won't shoot me, Vale said calmly. You sure about that? Yes. Why? Vale's eyes shifted briefly toward Savannah. Because then she never learns the truth. Savannah looked between them. What truth? Neither man answered immediately. Then Vale said, "Ask Eli why Vincent trusted him enough to frame him." Savannah frowned. Eli's jaw tightened. "Don't." Vale ignored him. "Ask him why your father kept protecting him." Savannah slowly turned toward Eli. "Eli?" Still silence. Then Vale delivered the final blow. "Ask him what really happened to your mother." Savannah felt the room tilt. "My mother died in a car accident." Vale's expression darkened. "No," he said quietly. "She was murdered." Everything stopped. Even Eli looked shaken. Savannah stared at Vale. "No. She discovered Vincent's trafficking routes 15 years ago." Richard Clarke had told Savannah her mother died during a winter highway collision. That was the story. Always the story. Vale continued calmly. She threatened exposure. Vincent silenced her. Savannah's breathing turned uneven. "You're lying." "I rarely lie." "Why would my father hide that?" "Because he was afraid." The office suddenly felt suffocating. Eli lowered the gun slightly. "Richard knew?" Vale nodded. "He spent 15 years trying to keep Savannah hidden from this world." Savannah backed away slowly. "No." Then another realization struck her. "You knew my mother." Vale's eyes softened for the first time all night. "She was my daughter." Savannah stopped breathing. The room collapsed inward. Eli looked stunned. Savannah shook her head violently. "No." Vale stepped closer carefully. Elena Vale changed her name after leaving Chicago. She fell in love with Richard Clarke. She wanted a normal life. His expression darkened. Vincent took that from her. Savannah felt sick. All this time, she had been chasing criminals without realizing she belonged to them by blood. Vale watched her carefully. "You inherited her instincts." Savannah's voice trembled. "You're my grandfather?" "Yes." The silence afterward felt endless. Then Eli suddenly raised the pistol again. "Enough family therapy." Vale looked toward him calmly. "You still think I'm the villain? You built this city's corruption." "No," Vale replied quietly. "I controlled it." The answer disturbed even Eli. Vale stepped toward him. "After I disappeared," Vincent expanded recklessly. "Human trafficking. Narcotics. Random executions. He turned structure into savagery. You're still a murderer." "Yes." The honesty made him worse. "Not better. Worse." "Then why come here?" Eli demanded. Vale looked toward Savannah. "To save my granddaughter." The restaurant lights suddenly exploded downstairs. Customers screamed. Gunfire erupted above the jazz music. Eli instantly spun toward the office door. Vale sighed softly. Too late. More gunshots thundered below. Men shouted. Glass shattered. Savannah's blood froze. "What's happening?" Vale looked almost disappointed. "Vincent's remaining people found us." Eli grabbed Savannah immediately. "Move." The three rushed downstairs into chaos. The gutter rose had become a battlefield. Masked gunmen stormed through the restaurant firing automatic weapons while customers fled screaming beneath falling chandeliers. Tables overturned. Wine bottles exploded. Blood spread across marble floors. Matteo dragged injured staff toward the kitchen while Eli fired across the dining room. One attacker crashed backward through the bar shelves. Another dropped near the piano. Savannah ducked beside an overturned table while bullets ripped through velvet curtains. "This place is cursed," Matteo shouted. Eli reloaded quickly. "Little busy right now." Vale moved through the chaos strangely calm. Then Savannah noticed something horrifying. The gunmen were not shooting at Vale. They were targeting Eli. One attacker screamed, "Arnett's order. Kill Turner." Savannah frowned. Arnett's order? But Vincent was in federal custody. Unless... Her stomach dropped. He escaped. Vale nodded grimly. 2 hours ago. The restaurant entrance exploded inward. Vincent Arnett stepped through the smoke holding a shotgun. And he looked insane. Gone was the polished businessman from Part 1. Now he looked feral. Bruised. Unshaven. Consumed by rage. His eyes locked onto Vale instantly. "You old bastard." Vale's expression remained unreadable. "Vincent." Vincent laughed wildly. "You disappear for 20 years then suddenly come back to steal my city?" "Your city?" Vale replied softly. "You were only ever temporary." That sentence snapped something inside Vincent. He raised the shotgun. Boom. The blast shattered mirrors behind Vale. Customers screamed louder. Eli tackled Savannah behind the bar as gunfire erupted again. The restaurant descended into pure war. The kitchen became a kill zone. Steam burst from ruptured pipes while chefs fled through back exits. Eli fought brutally through the smoke. Knife. Pistol. Bare hands. He moved like the dangerous man Savannah finally understood he truly was. Not pretending anymore. Not hiding anymore. One gunman charged. Eli slammed a cast iron pan into his face. Another attacked from behind. Eli drove a kitchen knife through the man's shoulder and hurled him into industrial stoves. Savannah stared in shock. Eli wasn't fighting like a chef. He was fighting like someone trained to survive slaughter. And worse. Part of him remembered how. Vincent stormed through the dining room firing wildly. "Where is he?" Vale appeared calmly near the staircase. Still emotional, he observed. Vincent roared and charged him. Then something shocking happened. Gabriel Vale moved. Fast. Terrifyingly fast. The old man sidestepped Vincent smoothly, struck his throat with the silver cane, disarmed him, then slammed him through a glass display cabinet in less than 3 seconds. Savannah stared. Even Eli looked unsettled. Vale stood over Vincent calmly. "You were always ambitious," he said softly. "But never disciplined." Vincent spat blood. "You made me." "No," Vale replied coldly. "I tolerated you." Vincent suddenly pulled a hidden pistol. Savannah screamed a warning. The shot exploded. But Eli moved first. He shoved Vale aside. The bullet tore into Eli's abdomen. Everything stopped. Savannah's scream echoed across the ruined restaurant. Eli collapsed hard beside broken glass. Vincent laughed weakly from the floor. "You finally die for him," he coughed. Then Vale shot Vincent directly through the chest. Once. Clean. Precise. Silence fell instantly. Vincent Arnett stared upward in shock before collapsing lifeless onto the restaurant floor. Dead. Finally dead. But Savannah barely noticed. She was already beside Eli. Blood spread rapidly beneath him. No, 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 no. Eli grabbed her wrist weakly. Hey! Don't you dare. His breathing grew shallow. Vale approached quietly. For the first time, Savannah saw regret in the old man's face. Sirens wailed outside. Police. Federal agents. Too late as always. Eli looked at Savannah carefully. I'm sorry. Tears streamed down her face. You don't get to apologize right now. A faint smile touched his lips. You still bossy. Shut up. He coughed blood. Savannah broke completely. Please. Then Eli whispered something unexpected. Check the river tunnels. Vale's eyes narrowed instantly. What tunnels? Eli looked toward him weakly. Vincent wasn't working alone. The room went cold again. Even dying. The nightmare wasn't over. 3 days later. Chicago exploded. Vincent Arnett's death triggered raids across the city. Secret tunnels beneath the river revealed trafficking routes, hidden servers, weapons caches, and blackmail archives involving politicians, judges, police chiefs, and billionaires. Hundreds arrested. Dozens disappeared before authorities reached them. And one question spread everywhere. Who would control Chicago now? But Savannah only cared about one thing. Eli surviving. The surgery lasted 9 hours. 3 bullets. Internal bleeding. Collapsed lung. The doctors called it a miracle. Savannah called it stubbornness. On the 4th night, Eli finally woke. Hospital lights glowed softly while snow fell beyond the windows. Savannah sat beside his bed asleep against folded arms. Eli smiled weakly. Then quietly said, "You drool when exhausted." Savannah's eyes flew open instantly. Then she burst into tears laughing. "You absolute bastard." He winced painfully. "Easy. Feels like somebody parked a truck on me." She grabbed his face carefully. "You scared me. Sorry. No more apologies." He nodded slowly. Then noticed someone standing near the hospital window. Gabriel Vale. Watching the snow. Alive. Free. Eli's expression darkened immediately. What's he doing here? Vale turned calmly. Leaving. Savannah stood slowly. You're just walking away. Vale looked at her carefully. No, he handed her a sealed envelope. I'm disappearing again. What's this? My empire. Savannah frowned. What? Account numbers. Political leverage. Offshore networks. Every surviving operation connected to my organization. Eli stared sharply. You're giving it up. Vale looked tired suddenly. Chicago has consumed enough generations. For the first time ever. He looked old. Not dangerous. Just exhausted. Then he looked toward Savannah one final time. Your mother once asked me if monsters could change. Savannah said nothing. Vale glanced toward the falling snow. I still don't know the answer. Then he left. And neither Savannah nor Eli ever saw Gabriel Vale again. 1 year later. Chicago changed. Not cleaner. Not safer. But different. The gutter rows reopened once more. Smaller this time. Simpler. No hidden dealings. No secret investors. Just food. Jazz. Warm light. And survival. Savannah published the biggest investigative series in modern Chicago history. It destroyed careers, built enemies, won awards. But she stopped caring about applause long ago. Some nights still haunted her. Pier 19. The blood. The gunfire. Her mother. Vale. Vincent. All of it. But some wounds became scars instead of graves. And Eli. Eli survived. Not perfectly. Not easily. But honestly. One snowy evening, Savannah stood on the rooftop above the gutter rose watching Chicago glow beneath winter fog. Eli stepped beside her slowly, still carrying faint scars beneath his shirt. "You thinking again?" he asked. "Dangerous habit." He wrapped an arm around her gently. For a while they watched the city silently. Then Savannah finally asked, "Do you think monsters can change?" Eli looked toward the skyline. The city shimmered beautifully in the darkness. Then he answered quietly, "No." Savannah looked at him. Eli's expression softened. "But I think broken people can choose what they become next." Below them, Chicago breathed endlessly beneath the veil. Still dangerous. Still hungry. Still full of shadows. But for the first time, neither of them belonged to the darkness anymore.